Roll call. Joe Fidelis. Here. Brian Kufal. Here. Martin Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Jacob Perez. Here. Delma Salinas.
Here.
And Joseph Reese here. Let the record show that there is a quorum of board members present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We will move to the moment of silence.
Good evening. I would like to read a proclamation and request a moment of silence in honor of Mr. Arnoldo Villarreal. On behalf of the Kingsville ISD Board of Trustees and myself, Superintendent Dr. Luz Martinez, let us take this moment to honor the life and service of Mr. Arnoldo Villarreal, a dedicated KISD bus driver who faithfully and proudly served our students and community. Mr. Villarreal was more than a driver. He was a caring presence who greeted students each day with kindness, ensuring they arrived at school and returned home safely. His commitment to student safety, his warm smile, and his unwavering dedication to his role made a lasting impact on the lives of many. He will be deeply missed and by his colleagues, the students he transported, and the entire KISD family. We extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and all who had the privilege of knowing him. May his memory continue to inspire us to serve with the same heart and devotion that Mr. Villarreal so graciously shared with Kingsville ISD. In recognition of his service and in remembrance of his life, we invite everyone to join us in a moment of silence.
We now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We now move on to item number 4, public participation. Do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
We have Elizabeth Ramos, community, it's board finance goals.
Ms. Ramos?
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Superintendent. We have the tax right now that we're voting for, and you guys have a town hall. So I figured I'd bring this up and reiterate what I said at that town hall, because none of the board members were present. But I really believe that if you have this tax going on, I'd like to see more of them on the agenda about controlling expenditures. So here, this is what y'all missed. In my short tenure on the Board of Trustees, I warned every board member and every president on the board about the fact that KISD will run out of money. I let the board tell the public the truth. The truth was the following. Sissy lied all the time, and the board allowed it. Sissy sued TEA to cover up for many failures, and the board allowed it. Sissy was wastefully spending ESSER money like it was going out of style. I'm going to guesstimate conservatively $3 million. Some of it still sits Memorial today. Sissy convinced the board to waste $1.3 million on a track that can never be used in UIL events unless it's JV during the day, and yet y'all still don't have the proper stands to sit in. Sissy gave her friends executive titles to pay them more and inflate their retirement funds, all while the board gave 2 to 4% administrative pay raises each year. That's $300,000 plus. Sissy put people she didn't like on administrative leave for long periods of time so she didn't have to deal with them wasting taxpayer money. Sissy put people on extended leave or work at home incentives when she didn't want to fire them. That's $300,000 plus dollars. Sissy ran away hundreds of parents and students to other school districts and homeschool, causing a lower enrollment rate. That's millions lost. I'm not even counting that. Sissy only promoted those who wouldn't question what she did, causing the mess y'all are in now. Y'all agreed to spend money on stipends we couldn't afford at approximately $1 million over the course of a few years. Daily small financial issues went unchecked, such as $3.5 in cookies for employers' friends' daughter's bakery in Corpus Christi. Kyle and I had mentioned the $10,000 to pay the admin building and the $600 office chairs. Over $50,000 for smoke alarms at the high school that don't work. $1 million on capturing nobody's hearts. Sissy's still getting paid $18,000 a month, and she doesn't even work here any longer. That's $108,000. So if I broke that down, the total, only those expenditures is $5,909,500. And there's the money that you guys need. This doesn't include the almost $1 million in employee stipend in the last couple of years. So that total is now $6,970,500, not including millions lost on enrollment. No one begged except me for oversight on expenditures such as ESSER, having quarterly finance goals, 1-year goals, 3 and 5 year goals, and now here we are. And this is a very small example of how Sissy ran this district into the gutter, and all of you either knew about it or should have known about it, and you let it happen on your watch. The reason why KISD is in a pickle is because the Board of Trustees let the white knight of the class of 1982 do whatever she wanted without oversight. These questions are for the board. So if this proposition is voted to put on for more money on the M&O side, what makes me believe that the board will provide oversight on these extra funds so y'all aren't in the same situation again? When will you do something? When will y'all start pressing to close elementary schools? When will y'all start looking at ways to save money? When will you start thinking about a campaign to bring these students back? Y'all want this extra money, but you don't have a plan in place to tell us what you're going to do with it and how to make sure it's not wasted again. And that's the board's plan. So, I know you guys are halfway intelligent, so you guys need a pair of something. So in here is some of y'all's intelligence. You grow a pair by adding some integrity. That's how you grow a pair. And then you're gonna sprinkle a whole lot of, I don't care what anyone thinks about what I'm doing because it's right for the kids. And that's how you grow a pair. And that needs to be put on the agenda. You guys need to have something down to where you guys are holding yourselves accountable for the amount of money that comes and goes out of this district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Yes, we have a Monica Esquivel and Stacy Odom, ongoing issue at HM King. Parents?
Hi. Hello, good evening. My name is Monica Esquivel. My the president of our booster club is not quite here, but her name is Stacy Albercon. I'm here this evening to discuss some ongoing issues that have been concerning regarding the HM King High School. We have sent countless emails, but either they've gone unanswered or not seen. Other issues have been arose and have had quicker and swifter responses. Ours have not. With that being stated, we are a booster, and I want to give some backside. We are a booster club who formed to support the drill team. We as parents have put in countless hours. We have worked hard. We have raised money for our children. We have expanded our group from just a little over 6 girls to now having 37 children on our team. And with that being said, we did that within less than 2 years. So that gives pride back to Kingsville. Also, we have now restructured and we are always looked at and asked by the community to come out and present and to show face. We want to be the school of Kingsville. We want people from other schools to want to attend our school. However, there are issues that are going on at H.M. King High School, and I must say that it starts with the leadership there. The leadership that has been in place at that high school is not doing justice for our children. We have classes that are being taught full-time by substitutes, core classes, which is why children come to H.M. King, such as the nursing program. That is a critical role in our community. We get bragging rights to how many children we graduate with associate's degrees, how many children we put through college for free who come to Tamrook. I used to tell everybody, H.M. King is not a bad school. We are involved parents. We care about our children. We are involved. But since the new administrator has taken over, parents have been shut out. We're no longer allowed to go to pep rallies. The halls are no longer decorated. There is no school spirit. We're at each other's throats with cheer, drill, volleyball has been on the news. I can't say how many times we have been on the news lately and not in a positive light. I do feel that we need to turn this around, and we have had ongoing issues with administrators and not being heard. There have been times where we have met, where we have been held to another standard, only to find out that other clubs and other groups were allowed to do the exact same thing that we asked for. And I do have record of proof of that. There has been times where it has been difficult to fundraise money. And again, that goes away with what we want to do. We want to be able to create this program. We want it to be sustaining for our children. And we want that because we want, no matter where level of class you come from, we want you to be able to participate in it, whether you are from a single parent household or you have money. Right now, there has been so many complaints regarding the cheer squad, but we have gone unheard. We have not had a voice. There have been incidences where the girls are now, this is what I have, Friday night is their last night. It's their senior night. And right now, the tensions are high. Everything is going on because the adults, let's be honest, are not getting it together. And to me, that is heartening, because that's the last time some of those cheerleaders, drill team, football players, volleyball players will hit the field. It's always a competition between both, when it should be united. There should be equal communication. There should be a plan. We should want to be that, and not the other way around. I feel like a lot of people in our community always say, Santa Cruz, but the reason why is because they involve their parents. They allow their parents to be at the pep rallies. They allow their parents to decorate. If it wasn't for the parents, you wouldn't have half of the things that are there. You wouldn't have half of those Friday night games that look great. It's because of the involved parents. And we want to change the narrative, and you want involved parents. Having involved parents makes kids want to come to Kingsville, which is why a lot of them join the drill team. And so I feel like our emails should be heard, our voices should be heard, and we should come together as a community to help solve the problems, to give our children the best that we possibly can. At the end of the day, if you take nothing away from this, please understand that I'm only here for the children, and I only want the absolute best, because I do think that we are the pride of Kingsville.
Thank you, Mrs. Esquivel. Do we have anyone else? Sylvia?
No, sir.
Oh, and by the way, I have done and filed, I did to volunteer, that's not unanswered. So I would like my application to be submitted, my background to be run, so that I can be a part of the events. it's been over a month.
Thank you, Ms. Esquivel. We move on now to item number 5, communications from administration. Item 5A, superintendent's update. Dr. Martinez.
Good evening, board president and board members, members of the public. First, I want to thank and congratulate all the former alumni who were inducted into the Hall of Fame, and publicly thank the Educational Foundation of Kingsville for supporting such an event this past Thursday at the high school. It was a memorable event where some of the alumni that participated went to the football game and were introduced. And so that was a very special moment for those alumni who have gone out and made a difference in the world and in Kingsville. And second, I would like to remind all the parents that Thursday, the 23rd, is early dismissal. So your children will be arriving home earlier. And then there's no school on Friday, the 24th. We will be engaging in professional development district-wide. All employees will be attending professional development, so our offices will be limited in terms of the services that we can provide. And so I just want to remind everyone about those two things. And that's all I have for this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. We now move on to budget recap report, check register for June 2025. Can be found on pages 3 through 8. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, President Ruiz, Superintendent Dr. Martinez, and members of the board. The first item up there on top, Houghton Mifflin Hardcore, that is part of our adoption for science materials. It is the instructional material allotment. Does not come out of the general fund, but those two work kind of hand in hand. If we were to use up all of our instructional materials allotment, then any additional instructional materials after that would have to come out of the general fund. Currently, we still have over $400,000 in our instructional materials allotment fund. The second one, quarterly appraisal district fees. Again, all entities that collect taxes do need to pay their proportion of the appraisal district fees once a quarter. I'll take any other questions you have on the check register.
I have a question, Dr. Pitts.
Yes, sir.
On the time clock for the $28,000, can you explain to me, I know we have a time clock for the employees, but then there's also timesheets that are done manually. Can you tell me why that happens if we have an automated system to keep track of individuals going in and out from their positions?
Yes, sir. So you're right, they are part of the same program, and it is online, and then those timesheets are printed as far as verifying that the time is correct. We are working at going 100% online with that. There are still some things that need to be done as far as programming people's calendars online so that we don't have to do any manual checks, and making sure that all of the time is correct in there, because otherwise, if there is, once we go 100% live, then if there's a mistake, somebody's not going to get paid, or somebody's going to get paid extra when they're supposed to, their hours are supposed to be checked. Now, right now, that is our last double check, and there are still mistakes. There are mistakes on either that people did not clock in, or that people with their time did not approve their time correctly. We're working on getting those resolved, but eventually our time clock software is going to tie in with our payroll software, so that whatever is in the time clock system will be what is paid. Currently, there are 3 different systems. There's a time clock system, then there's an absence system, and then there is our payroll system. Now, time clock, the conversion that we're working on is that it will manage our absences as well, so that whenever somebody is absent, it will be reflected in time clock and automatically leave will be deducted, and then it will affect their pay if they don't have any leave left over. So it is a system we're working toward. It is not there yet, but by the end of the year, it should be ready to go 100%.
Because, you know, you're putting labor hours also with these
Absolutely.
time sheets. And
Absolutely.
you're already paying $28,000 for this time clock. And then you've got our employees verifying time sheets off that time clock. You know, that's just, you know, my concern on that part, because you're talking about the man hours that need to be done. And I know it's important because you need to keep track of who's gonna get paid what, or, you know, on their leave. But hopefully eventually that new system you're talking about, we can get it going pretty soon.
Absolutely, and then then we will not have a need for manual timesheets. We will not also have a need for, we have a software that manages our absences. Time clock has that built in there. We're working on the conversion for that, and all three of them will work together. So it'll save labor and it'll save us money as well.
Thank you, sir.
Is this a program we're gonna purchase to marry all these things together? Or is this something we're doing ourselves?
We have had this program that manages time every year, but now we're working on adding the absence component to it so that it can all be managed under one roof, and then we can get rid of the need for the timesheets.
So do campus principals still verify their, and then you have to verify them again as far as the timesheets, the paper hard copies? They're
Currently,
verified twice.
Currently it is now, but we are moving toward, for professionals are no longer clocking in. And that is taking care of a lot of the issue, but then again, we need other checks and balances to ensure that professionals, that their pay matches exactly what their work hours are, because they're no longer clocking in anymore.
So,
If I may add, recently we made the transition to maximize employee times, because we realized that some of the staff in the HR office as well as the finance office were spending an inordinate amount of time reviewing the timesheets for exempted employees, those employees who are salaried, right? And so I believe we started on the 13th, where exempted employees no longer have to clock in and clock out. So that takes away all those corrections for hundreds of people that really, we still have to have a system. They still have to record their absences in ASAP, it's the system that we use. Principals have to have a way to corroborate, that people are where they need to be, but exempted employees no longer have to clock in. So we are only talking about the hourly employees that we are managing those type of situations with clock.
yeah, so for example, on a campus, principal has 10 or 12 paras. Or they verify that before they send it back in payroll, and then it's verified again. Is that the answer?
So they are verified first, then it is sent to HR, who coordinates with leave. If any leave needs to be deducted, or if there are any questions, then they corroborate with the campus. And then once everything is ready for payment, then they send it out.
So for example, Dr. Pitcher, the principal of the school, you get these timesheets in, you verify them, you sign off on them, that they're correct. So they're checked again before, a second time, here's.
Checked again by HR before they are sent to us to actually process them.
Why HR? Why so many steps?
There are mistakes. So that's what we're working on getting corrected before we move completely digital.
Dr. Pitts, my question is how could our IT department, Dr. Trevi, Garcia, and start helping out with this? Since it's, I don't know, Dr. Garcia, is there anything we can do as software that might be out there that we can look at? Because this is really, it's taking a lot of your time, Dr. Vincent. If we can try to get Dr. Garcia to help us out a little bit.
President, oh, sorry, I'm too short. Let me move this down. There we are. Yes, thank you for inviting me up to the podium. So as Dr. Pitts said, we do have 3 separate systems that are managing our time. The time clock when we punch in, we have ASOP, which manages our absences. And then the last one is looking at our payroll system. And so because those 3 systems are 3 different systems, they don't speak to each other. So we can explore ways to see how we can mitigate, right, and try to consolidate into one. That has been a project that has come up. We can definitely look into it.
So that might be something we'll have to purchase then, if we want to, a program to mirror out. I mean, is anybody else, do we know anybody else in the area, for example, that can do all that with one program without worrying about 3 different programs? Do we know anything or anybody like that?
Not that I know of. I know maybe our employee access center, we can look, we can ask and see if that software, which is PowerSchool, which is one of our major vendors that we use for our student information system and our finance system. And we use it for HR, but not for absences. So we can ask them if they can add the absences in there, and hopefully they can talk to each other. But that might be one of the vendors we could look at.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions on the check register?
Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Dr. Pitts. We move on now to item number 6, new business. Item 6A, by common consent, the board agrees to consider as one action item the following. Approval of special meeting minutes of October 7, 2025, can be found on pages 9 through 11. Is there any question? Motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Brian Kufal, second. Second made by Jake Bettis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We now move on to item 6B, discussion and possible action regarding Red Ribbon Week proclamation. Can be found on pages 12 and 13. Mr. Segovia.
Good evening, Board President Brees, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Martinez. I will be reading the proclamation for Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd to the 31st, 2025. Whereas alcohol and other drug use in our state has reached epidemic stages, with the 11 through 20-year-old age group dying at a rate higher than that of any other age group, and because our communities must join together to combat the relenting demand for drugs in our state and launch visible, unified prevention education efforts directed toward both youth and adult age groups. And whereas community coalitions are sponsoring the Red Ribbon campaign all across our state during Red Ribbon Week to offer Texans the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to drug-free lifestyles. And whereas individuals and groups in government, law enforcement, education, religious institutions, sports teams, and service organizations, as well as youth, physicians, and senior citizens will demonstrate their commitment to drug-free, healthy lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbons during the Red Ribbon Week. Therefore, it is resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Kingsville Independent School District hereby proclaim the week of October 23rd through the 31st, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week in Kingsville, Texas. Also call on all citizens to join us in recognizing the efforts of the community coalitions toward eliminating the use of drugs in our communities and in supporting the Red Ribbon Week campaign at a high quality of life for the youth and adults in Texas and throughout the United States. Thank you.
Is there a motion to accept the Red Ribbon Week proclamation? Motion made by Joe Mireles. Second made by Delma Salinas. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We now move on to item 6E, discussion and possible action regarding School Bus Safety Week proclamation. Can be found on pages 14 and 15. Dr. Pitts.
Aguilar Aguilar.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Aguilar Aguilar. I am the transportation foreman, and I'm gonna go ahead and read the School Bus Safety Week proclamation. Whereas the Kingsville Independent School District recognizes that the importance of protecting the safety of Kingsville school children extends beyond the classroom walls and the school building. And whereas the board has great respect for the accomplishments of Kingsville school bus drivers, mechanics, supervisors, and all school transportation personnel in providing the safest transportation possible for children to and from school and home. And whereas each day, the Kingsville school bus drivers transport more than 1,800 students traveling over 100,000 miles annually. And whereas coordinating the countless routes over so many miles and supervising the dozens of students on each vehicle requires an outstanding effort put forth by numerous exemplary professionals who have devoted their careers to transporting our children safely. And whereas the board continues to recognize and to take great pleasure in commending the men and women who accepts and meets the challenges of school transportation. Now therefore be it resolved that the week of October 20th to the 24th, 2025 be designated as Kingsville Independence School District School Bus Safety Week, and further resolved that this week be devoted to the recognition of everyone who contributes to the successful operation of our state school buses, and be it finally resolved that this special week serves as a fitting time to urge all Kingsville drivers to become more aware of school bus safety regulations, and we encourage all citizens to be alert and drive carefully near school buses.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. Do I hear a motion to accept the proclamation for the School Bus Safety Week? Motion made by David Garcia. Second. Second made by Martin Chapa. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We now move on to item 6D, discussion and possible action regarding the 2025.
President. There's bus driver present?
Yes, we do have a bus driver present. He is also our trainer, our CDL trainer, Mr. Eric Otis. So he drives and trains for CDL. And everybody knows Miss Leanne.
Thank you very much for what you do in keeping our children safe. We now move on to item 6D, discussion and possible action regarding the 2025 tax roll resolution. Can be found on pages 16 through 18. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Ruiz. Every year, the tax assessor sends us the tax roll. The tax roll has the property values in different categories. It also has the tax levy, how much tax will be collected, and that tax is split up between the general fund and between the INS debt fund as well too. I'll take any questions that you have.
Are there any questions regarding the tax roll? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the 2025 tax roll resolution?
So moved.
Motion made by Jake Pettis,
Second.
second by Brian Kufal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We now move on to item 6E, discussion and possible action regarding the Kingsville ISD trustee election.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, if we may move this item into executive session for some legal consultation and then revisit it afterward, I'd appreciate it.
Do we have any objection? Okay, we will move it in closed session and bring it back into open session once we have received your input. We move on to item 6F, discussion and possible action regarding the Veterans Day Resolution for 2025. Can be found on pages 23 and 24. Dr. Joseph Welch.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Board President Ruiz, Superintendent Martinez, and board members. I want to first thank you for allowing me the opportunity to read this possible action. Whereas throughout the course of history, courageous men and women have taken up arms to secure, defend, and maintain the core principles upon which our nation's freedom depends. And whereas it is important to remember our veterans because of their great service to our community and our country. And whereas the future of our community, our families, our children, and our great nation depends upon the dedication, patriotism of all people who have served in our armed forces. And whereas on Veterans Day, we honor the heroes we've lost and we rededicate ourselves to the next generation of veterans by supporting our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guards as they return home from duty. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Kingsville Independent School District remembers throughout the month of November all of our veterans in American history who have defended our Constitution and have maintained freedom throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Welch.
And Space Corps.
And Space Corps.
Is there a motion to accept the Veterans Day Resolution for 2025? Motion made by David Garcia.
Second.
Second by Joe Mireles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We will now move on to item 7, closed session. The board will enter into closed session in accordance with.
Can anyone that is a veteran please stand up to be recognized? Do we have any veterans?
We now move on to the board will enter into closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. Item 7A, discussion with legal counsel regarding legal and personnel matters. Also, discussion possible action regarding the Kingsville ISD trustee election date. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering into closed session at 6:09 p.m. We now return to open session and take necessary action on matters which the board may discuss in open session and upon which action may be taken. We are returning to open session at 7:26 PM. So at this time, we want to revert back to item 6E, discussion of possible action regarding the Kingsville Independent School District election date. Can be found on pages 19 through 22. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. According to Senate Bill 1494, school districts now have the opportunity to change their election date. This opportunity does not happen every year. There is only a certain window, and this window hasn't appeared for many years. The window is open until December the 31st for the board to decide whether they want to take action.
So is there a recommendation from administration on when to have the elections?
I would defer to legal on whether we are allowed. The best time to have the elections would be November of an even year. That is when we have the county that has their elections. So we would always have a partner. Right now, if we kept elections where they are, the city only has elections every 4 years. So there wouldn't be a partner every 2 years. There wouldn't be a partner.
So
is that allowable, legal?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Martinez. So as we discussed in executive session, under legal, I will share with the board here on the record that there are 2 statutes in play, as discussed. One of which allows political subdivisions to make changes to a uniform election date in November, no later than 30/30. There's another statute that applies to school districts that puts that date at December this year for our deadline, which also allows for the odd numbered years in November. There is some conflict about which one of those controls. With our research to the Texas Elections Division, the Secretary of State, both are a good statute. We can do both in theory. One applies more in one particular interpretation to schools to maintain the odd number November years based on some legislative intent that was drafted into those bills that stated that it was what was called a supremacy clause, which meant it controlled over conflicting statutes passed in 2025 electoral session. However, what made it into statute was the ability for political entities such as ours to do uniform election dates and/or for specifically school districts to do odd-numbered November election dates. So that's sort of where the legal stands. I don't have a recommendation on which one you pick. I think it's potentially problematic for either. We don't have any further clarity from the Attorney General's office or the election divisions of the Secretary of State. And so we're simply working with what we have at this time.
Can I make a comment? The president asked if there was a recommendation. Well, there is a recommendation. It says here, administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Kingsville ISD trust election date as presented. So there is a recommendation by administration. That was the question that the president had.
Can someone read that recommendation? That's in the resolution and the board packet.
I could read the resolution, Mr. President.
Please.
It's a resolution changing the date of the general election for trustees and adjusting trustee terms to comply with the Texas Election Code 41.0052, whereas the Board of Trustees, Board of Kingsville Independent School District currently conducts its general elections for trustees in May of each year, a date other than the November uniform election date, and whereas Senate Bill 1494 amended Texas Election Code 41.0052 to authorize the governing body of an independent school district such as ours to change the date of its general election for trustees to the November uniform election date, so long as the change is adopted by December 31st, 2025. And whereas the board finds that consolidating elections with other political subdivisions on the November uniform election date will promote greater voter participation and reduce costs and administrative burdens. And whereas the Texas Elections Code 410052 requires that when a district changes its election date under this provision, it must also adjust the terms of office of its officers to align with the new schedule. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of Kingsville Independent School District, election date change. The district's general election for trustees shall be moved to November uniform election date in odd numbered years, with the first election to be held November 2027. Adjustment of trustee terms to conform with the new election schedule under Texas Elections Code 41.0052. The district shall adjust the existing terms of office as follows. Group A seats, currently seats scheduled to expire in May of 2026, shall have their terms extended to November 2027, and Group B seats, currently scheduled to expire in May 2028, shall have their terms extended to November 2029. Therefore, all terms shall return to 4-year staggered cycles, with Group A and Group B seats alternating every 2 years beginning in November 2027. Notice of implementation, the superintendent or designee is authorized and directed to notify the Cleveland County Elections Administrator, the Texas Secretary of State Elections Division, and any other necessary entities of this election date change and term adjustment, and to take all actions necessary to implement this resolution in compliance with state law. Superintendent or designee is authorized and directed to update all policy and procedure necessary to implement this resolution in compliance with state law.
Thank you. So, so do we have a motion to accept the Kingsville ISD trustee election date resolution as presented by administration?
So moved.
Motion made by Joe Mireles.
Second.
Second made by Martin Chapa. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
So motion passes 6-1. Thank you. And there was no recommendation for personnel matters, correct?
No recommendation, Mr. President.
Okay.
No action needed. Thank you.
No action needed. Okay, so there being no further action, I do here adjourn this meeting, and we are adjourning this meeting at 7:34 p.m.